In this video, we're going to go through the accounting transactions. First thing we're going to do is enter a new journal. If I go in here and change the journal to be a December date, so I'm going to change it to the 10th of December, what you'll notice is that the period stays the same. It stays at January 2008, and this is because the December period is closed. Also, if I change it to an earlier date, such as September, that date will stay the same. However, if I set it forward to February, then the period correctly changes to February. So what we're going to do is enter a journal for February to the 0010 nominal for £100 and also to the 0011 nominal for £100 on the credit. Okay, let's save the journal. And now the next thing that we're going to do is actually do a reversal on the journal. So I'm going to click the Save Change Date and Create Reversal button. And what this basically does is creates an exact opposite of the previous journal. So where it was debited, it's now credited, and vice versa. So what I'm now going to do is change this date to be a March date, and obviously the period changes for me when I change the March date. And I'm going to save my new journal as well. Now if I go into Find Journal, and these journals will be in the unposted journals, and they'll obviously be in a future period. So if I have a look for February and March, we can see that there's the March one and there's the February one. So I can obviously open them back up and have a look at them. Next thing I'm going to do is create a prepayment. So if I go into the Prepayment Wizard, okay, and then I put in the amount that I want for the prepayment. In this instance it's going to be for rent, so it's something that's happening over 12 months, and we're going to analyze this to the rent nominal. Okay, if I go next through that, we can see on the next screen that it's basically breaking up all of the payments throughout the year. And if I go next again, it will show me basically the journal that it's going to create. And if I go next again, I can print that series of journals basically on here. So it's basically showing me all of the different transactions that it's going to do. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is a bad debt provision. So new bad debt provision, launch the wizard. If I go next, I can run this for specific customers or put some sort of restriction on only show amounts that are less than a certain value, etc. I'm just going to put everything so I get a full list. Now I'm going to take one of my opening balance for my euros, and I'm going to do one of my UK customer ones. So that's invoice 3 and OB 11. Okay, if I go next, it'll show me a breakdown of what exactly it's going to do, and you'll note that this is the base value, not the foreign value for this. If I go next again, it'll basically show me what exactly it's going to do on the journal, and if I finish, it'll print out the journal that it's going to do for a bad debt provision. So it's going to write to the bad debt provision nominal and the allowance for bad debt nominal. Nothing gets posted to the customer accounts at this point. So if I now go and create another bad debt provision while that one's still in place, what we'll notice is that them invoices don't appear for provisioning because it knows that they're already on another provision. So if I go into find bad debt provision, I can find the bad debt provision that I've just done, okay, with my invoices on, and then I can reverse my bad debt provision. So that will basically reverse it out and unflag them transactions as being on a provision. So if I now create yet another bad debt provision, I should now see that them transactions are now showing back on there, so I can provision them. The next thing I'm going to do is create a write-off. So new write-off. Next, again, we've got the same options as what we had on the provision. It's basically identical at this stage. So I'm going to go next to pick them all, and I'm going to once again pick one of my my Euro transactions, or I'll pick one of my UK transactions. So if I go next, it shows me basically the values that we've got that we're going to be writing off. Quite large values there, really. So again, it shows me what it's going to do. And if I finish, that will now have written the transactions to the accounts. So if I go into find write-off and find my write-off that I've just done, okay, I can obviously see the transactions. It's created IWOF 4 and 5 on my toy customer, UK and French customer. So if I drill down into the customer, and then go into transactions and ledger, the transaction that the IWOF was against will now be closed. So let's go to look at all transactions, look at my IWOF number 4, which was the one that I've just done, and if I double click on the outstanding amount, you will see that it's been set against invoice number 3, which is the one that I just wrote off. Next thing we're going to do is an EC sales list. So it's in the UK tax VAT folder, an EC sales list. I need to click the new button here. Previous ones that I've done will show in this list here. I need to click a new one to kick that off. Now I can now do a date range or a number of months. So I'm going to select months, and I'm going to do 010108. And then I should be able to produce EC sales list, and it'll show me any transactions that meet that. So I've basically got my sale there, my invoice to my French customer. So if I now want to, I can create a file, which is my EC file I can send over. And there's my file. I can obviously save that and then electronically send it. And the other thing I can do is print the report for the EC sales list, showing the values, etc. Okay, what I'm going to do now is reconcile my EC sales list. It tells me it was successful. Okay, and even after I've reconciled it, I can still create the file again. So if I close that now and go into EC sales list again, into there, it'll now show my historical one in the list, and I can open that one back up and create the file at any point. What I'm now going to do is an intrastat reconciliation. So I'm going to do a new one, and again I can do a range of months. So I'm going to do from the 1st of this year for 1 month, and we can do arrivals and dispatches separately. So if I say produce intrastat, that should show me at the moment, because I've got arrivals, it's showing me my French supplier transactions in there. What I'm now going to do is create the file. Okay, so once again it shows me the transactions in there. I'm not going to save the file, so I'm going to come out of that without saving, and I'm now going to reconcile the intrastat. That was successful, and then I'm going to close that form. If I again go into the intrastat reconciliation, you'll see that I've now got one there. So I can double click into that, and I can create the file again, and then this time I could save it to send it over. Okay, so we're going to do a similar thing for the VAT return this time. So again, there's no history of a VAT return in there, so I'm going to just click the new button. Okay, and again I can do it for months, so I'm going to set this back to the first of the month for 1 month, and I'm going to click produce VAT return, and that will give me the figures. Now if I just go back to do this and say produce this from the 2nd month, from February, and click produce VAT return, it will tell me that I have unreconciled transactions as of the previous month, because we've obviously